This is the Rune Cheburek, and it's gorgeous. I mean, just look at it, from that perfectly finished paint job to the exquisitely crafted custom body kit. This isn't a car that says you're trying. This is a car that says you've made it in GTA Online. So what better time to give this a review, because this is on offer this week and it's one of the removed cars. So this car is based on a bit of a mishmash of Ladas from over the years, and if you're not sure what a Lada is, that's quite understandable. In the middle of the 20th century across Europe, car manufacturers decided that people needed a small, economical car for the masses, basically something everyone could afford. In the UK, we came up with the Mini. In France, they made the 2CV. The Germans came up with the Beetle. The Italians did the Fiat 500. And the Russians, well, what did they design? Well, they didn't really design anything. They said, let's buy the rights to the Fiat 124 and change the badges. And that's what they did. And I can't really criticise them, because they went on to sell that car for the next 25 years. And it's one of the best selling cars ever made. Yeah, it really was one of the best selling cars ever made. Which becomes even more unbelievable when you look up the meaning of the word Lada. So, back to the review. What does this thing actually drive like? Well, it drives how you imagine. Now, there's actually a fairly active modding scene for this car in real life, and some of the things they come up with do look pretty nice, as long as you like squares. But in the game, it's how you would expect. It's not particularly quick, but then again, this isn't a car you want to go quick in. This is a car you want to be seen in. You want all your friends to see that you've finally been able to afford this thing of beauty. Handling, pretty decent considering what it is. Top speed seems fairly weak. We'll find out more when we get round to the test. If I had one criticism, and it is only a small criticism because otherwise this car is pretty close to perfection, it's the engine noise or the exhaust note. It sounds a little bit like an angry bee, but it's not even really powerful enough to be considered an angry bee. It's more like a slightly miffed mosquito. Yeah, it's not a nice noise. It's not a nice noise at all. So let's go check the top speed. So here we go with my measured mile that I'll drive as quickly as possible. For those of you that are new to the channel, first of all, welcome. This is the top speed test, and the reason I do it this way is because I want to give you a realistic expectation of what you can achieve in these cars. It's one thing testing it on a perfectly empty and perfectly straight road, but testing it with other traffic around gives you an idea of how easy it is to drive and how easy it is to get to whatever top speed it can actually do. And the finish line is just under this sign, and this is what it managed to do. So this is about the time we turn to final thoughts and review. And in all seriousness, what do I think of this car? Well, let's be honest, it's not great. It does have some pretty unique customization, i.e. a body kit made out of cardboard, and there's not much more I can say about it. I mean, the only time I ever had the privilege of riding in one of these things in real life, I was 13 years old and I was going around the local water sports centre. Not that kind. You have a filthy mind, not that kind. And I walked a little bit too close behind some fishermen while one of them were casting off, and he managed to simultaneously both extract a large chunk of flesh from my knee and leave the barb of his hook stuck in my knee. So I was transported to hospital in one of these things, and yes, it was beige. A prouder moment I have never had. But should you buy this in the game? I think probably not, if I'm honest. It's worth buying. It's a cheap enough car. It's worth buying just to have this ridiculous body kit, so you can get low levels worried when you turn up to their prison heist in this. So I don't know what to say about this thing. It's a decent fun car. Here's the time it did. I think I'm going to have to say avoid. I think this is one for the collectors or for people like me who have a strange sense of humour. So here's where it sits on the lap board. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you on the next one.